Good evening, folks. Make sure the mic's all mic'd up. There we go. We got sound. And I said hello with a W in the chat. Pardon me. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Evening with Roxanne. As you enter, say hi in the chat if you like. Always considering if you like the video, a thumbs up. And of course, if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. We meet here every week and talk about different ideas that I come up with. Some people email me and want me to cover certain objects or certain subjects. So my website is down there. It's a link, odysseyofascension.com. You can always contact me through there under the contact page. And let's get going on control issues. So if you consider reality, if you consider reality as your own inclusive world and your point of view as a natural human says everything is different than inclusive, it means there's no one else there. It's all yours. And this world doesn't tell you pretty much anything is yours. And yes, you have legal ownership. And there's people in your reality that you don't want to see or you don't want to be with and you don't want to go to work. And so this is your own kingdom doesn't seem to align. And from our standpoint of separation, we begin to lack ourselves as natural creators and beings when we arrive here on the planet. We have a hole in our chest. I'm not enough. I'm unworthy. We start to covet our parents, covet friends, covet religions, and start to put all these objects outside of us. And we forget we have our own kingdom, which is the way we perceive and interact, interpret, and of course, express reality. And that creates the world around you. So my clock is ringing. I need to get the lower chimes aren't working well. So I wrote control issues because I watched other people absolutely lose their mind when others aren't behaving the way they should expect. All of you have seen it and you participated. You get mad at a person for something that they did. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? They shouldn't have done this. They, and including your kids, including the idea of your husband, your wife, your teachers, your employers, and you objectify these ideas. And then when something doesn't go as expected, you have lost control because expectation is a byproduct of expected control or effort control. You expect people on a daily basis to behave in a certain way. In our world, this proves that either way. We're supposed to be a civilized society, that this land of the laws, we live here in the States and in the world, and we're supposed to have this wonderful, great society, Pink Floyd in the movie The Wall, a promise of a great new world under a clear blue sky, But why do we have to run for shelter in that promise? And the world is absolutely not civilized. It's chaotic. It's enforced by violence to have behavioral civilization, and ones that do not behave are controlled. The ones with the biggest guns or the perceived authority, and you have enough in numbers, you're going to lose the battle. You're going to go to jail. You're going to go to court. You're going to go to prison. You're going to get executed, blah, blah, blah. Control everywhere, right? And it's represented. So you and your world demand that the world behave in a certain way, and if it doesn't, it shakes your foundation and you get upset. Okay? And your reality is a natural flow of absolute alignment with no reality that can ever show up that would be misaligned with you to where you would actually get upset. Right? You're set in your ways. It comes along, you shake it up, you're upset. And then you start to blame. Your anger swells, your guilt swells. Why did they say that to me? They hurt my feelings. Why is this like this? Why is this like this? And all of that is control issues. A lot of control issues, severe control issues. Okay? Navigating reality from Ascension point of view, a spiritual point of view, is not mocking the human that is not spiritual in the way that you perceive. Spirituality is not creating an image of what you perceive in your own mind that a spiritualist person should be. Happy, huggy, lovey. It's not that. It's self-discovery. It's removal of the things that create resistance in your reality. Two magnets that are polar opposites attract. You put the same things towards each other, they repel. So if you're not God and the mirror is trying to attract God to you, and you resist God, your idea of what your kingdom should look like, resist it because it doesn't meet your expectations. What is your reality showing you every day? What does it show you? It shows you what you are. And it shows you at the same time opportunity. Now, don't be a child here. And let's look at the objectification that the most of the spiritual world over my 13 years of ascending have discovered what people perceive the mirror to be. Someone negative comes into your world, an asshole, someone like this, and you're going, well, what am I attracting here? Why did I attract a negative person? I must be negative. No, you're not negative. You didn't attract a person's behavior. Everybody is free will, including you. The perception is showing you that you have the ability to attract that frequency in your reality, and that is a possibility of expression by the other co-creator. So what do you do about it, right? Well, you don't resist it, because if you resist it, you persist it. That's a little rhyme you've all heard. What resists persists, right? That kind of thing. So people are taking the mirror in absolute verbatim of what they perceive. It's not that. It's opportunity to release your control of the reality and allow the world to show up. Right now, a few of you just thought about, well, what happens if, and these people want to, and what do I do then? So what you're doing now is exposing another idea of your own resistance, of your own fears. I just offered an idea, and a couple of you out there, a lot of you out there reacted, and you played out a scenario of feel of possibility. If I don't resist these person that are trying to control or negative, and I do something and allow them to be that, then they might be something more scary, or they might have other intentions, and that leads to bad things. So I need to be safe and secure and prevent. And that's the farthest from the truth. Don't do that to yourself. That's just creating a cycle. You have to let people be. Why do you have to control people? Because, oh, I know. You know what's best for them. You know what's best for your children. You know what's best for everything. Your husband, you know what's best. They should behave this way. They should eat that way. My parents treated me like this, so I'm not going to treat my kids like this. But you're still controlling and lacking as the nature of separation, so you're passing that on to your children, right? Maybe not all of you, but you have to look at yourself. I bring this up because I walked into a world that I left every matter of safety and security behind, and I have no control of my reality around me, zero. I don't have the security that the nature of reality, of humanity, would demand a person. It is an uncertain reality. But I learned that there is no uncertain reality when you are authentic. And authentic attracts the alignment or the resonance of the nature of you. That's what it does. So you have to take a hard look at yourself and says, what are my control issues that are getting me to react? And what happens when you react? You vibrate. And you vibrate that into the mirror. And you tell creation, this is what I still have as my truth. And it'll attract those truths to show you this is you as a person, that you're attracting these ideas, which what is your value. And you're going to go, no, I don't want these people in my life. I don't want this idea. So, but why do you keep getting them? Well, because you're controlling reality instead of allowing reality. Just let it go. Let it all go and be now. Okay, letting go doesn't mean being lazy. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. Letting go is releasing control of the relationship you have of expectation, of demands on others. Okay? Eric says, hey, Roxy, finally got to catch you on Sunday Night Live. This is a true treasure. Thank you, Eric. Eric, wonderful. Hey, Eric, I had a mailbox change in my address. It's now 100-11 instead of 100-171, but I'll still get the mail if you already mailed something to me. I haven't told everybody else. Apparently, the mailbox we have was already rented, so we had it for a week, and they go, shit, we already had this rented, and they upgraded us to a bigger mailbox. So instead of the last three being 171, it's 11 is the new mailbox. Thanks, Eric. So I get anxiety, fears, uncertainty swoosh through me, but I don't take action to resolve. I accept the truth of myself, and through observation and allowance, I become these realities, these emotions. I start to live them from a subjective acceptance, and that vibration that I'm now not resisting teaches me. It starts to teach me the experience of anxiety, the experience of fear. And when I understand it in its totality, I can never repeat it. I move on from it. See, we sustain as humans, we sustain our fears. Why? Because we validate our fears. Look what humanity sells you every day. Fear. You need to look at it hard. The commercials are fear. Some of them are fun. A lot of them are fear. The politicians, no one's fun there. Everyone is fear. So they teach and teach and teach. Your teachers teach fear. If you don't, then this will happen and you'll be. So you conform and you react. Your life react on fear. So you continue to validate fear instead of learning it because you're keeping it outside of you. This might happen. I'm going to resist it. I'm going to solve it. I'm going to dodge that, not experience. I'm going to avoid it. But see, the object is not what you're looking at. You're creating it through the relationship, the fear itself. And that's what you must transcend. Transcending fear is the full submergence of yourself into that emotion in the moment. Then, shaken, fearful, as your mind is going apeshit, but you're holding on to your desk, you're sitting in your chair in a room where no fearful actions are actually happening. The only thing is happening, it's swirling in your head, causing this internal calamity. Fear is swirling around, and your mind is trying to control the reality of what's not happening in the future based off of the past. All of this is swirling around in your head, and now you're creating that world. But what happens when you get that reaction with an external stimulant to show you the truth of you? You go, shit, I'm afraid of this, but it's not happening now. What did Roxanne say? Oh, I know. Let's accept it. So you accept the truth that I have fear. I'm scared shitless of my future. I'm scared to not control because I'll be made fun of if I'm not responsible or I didn't do anything about it. Those are all human ways. If you're trying to be a God before death and return home before death, then you have to stop being non-God ways. Gods aren't afraid. We're not anxietal. We don't have guilt by nature. We have love. We are love. And what we do, we don't go around loving each other, hugging each other, being batshit silly. Oh, I love you, hugs and kisses. No, we create. We manifest. We bend light into form and create reflections in the mirror of eternal experience. Infinite number of densities and dimensions. Unnameable ways to experience reality in such different form. And we can't even imagine. We don't even have names for what is possible because we are in this dormancy of separation, learning ourselves through remembrance to create a new portion of ourselves in absolute evolution and growth, to know yourself as not God, only to work through your own love, your own will, your own courage, your own trust, your own perseverance, your own patience to discover what we forgot that lies within. Now, what more? Tell me anything that is better than you one day realizing, walking, waking up, and you know something is different beyond any measure. And you remember that you are eternal creator forever. That is absolutely priceless. And you came here to possibly do that. Maybe in your last 10, 15, 100,000, I don't know how many fucking lives you've had, but how many collective lives your wholesale had doesn't matter. But what matters is you are here now with awareness, and awareness of your own resistances, your own limitations, your own store-bought human belief systems that structure you into dormancy, into slavery, into subjective less than victims. And you now have choice because you have awareness. Let me catch up with the chat. Cool, Roxanne, much love and light from Sunflame. They make it easy for us to validate those fears too. Yes, they do. We forgot as humans, we forgot to stay in love. Yep, not a damn thing. Exactly. Very good. So control issues is something that you have to be humble about. Okay? Trust your kids. Eric says, so sorry, I'm currently inside of a group celebration. I'm going to have to finish taking the session tomorrow. Okay, darling. Ciao, Bella. Love you. So think about this. Your kids are little gods, just like you're a little god. You might have biological age on them, but you're both little gods, all smashed down in this little tiny focus of separation, squashed into separation, tearing yourself apart from your own collective, going, damn, I'm scared as hell. I don't know what the hell this is. Oh my God. So your children are the same way. But in the environment, the nature of children is love. Everyone sees babies. They're fun and they're happy. And then you, as parents, teach them fear. Your teachers teach them fear. Society teaches them fear. They teach them, you have to earn our respect. You are this. And of course, children are separated and they're little shits too. And they're non-respectful and they're this and they're that. Of course, that's the whole game of polarity. But someone's got to be the adult. And adult doesn't mean control. Adult doesn't mean enforcing laws with physical and abusive and mental abuse. That's not a mature adult. An adult is one who cultivates the child with love, unconditional love, and guidance. So stop controlling your children. Allow them the space to grow, but teach them maturity. When you see them and you understand, but you have to be, I just moved my seat down. That was fun. There we go. You have to be observant of yourself. So before you can start teaching another the responsibilities or the ability to respond to subjectively see the self and what is now internally recognized. Before you teach it, you have to learn that. You have to experience it yourself. And it starts with fear, hope, need, want, desire, pride, prejudice, sloth, gluttony, greed. They're all out there. So you have to eat humble pie and say, God, I'm a mess. I'm trying to make myself an identity of acceptance because I'm not worth my own skin, because I am empty inside and I need to fill the heart with validation, with praise, with resume, with achievements and all this stuff. And then you just run to the end of your fucking life, trying so hard to become already what you are, eternally great, king or queen of your own castle, your own kingdom, an infinite creator of love, expression, expansion, and evolution. That's what you are by nature. You're not this meat, what do you call it? Meat. You used to call it something, meat wagon, not a meat wagon. This body, this bag of water. You're not that. It's all up here in the awareness, but your mind keeps selling you identity over identity over identity. And it teaches you to control. And without control, you're going to lose control. Look at the fucking world. What happens if we lose everything? Okay, here it is. Remember all the people? Oh, I would never do that. I would never do that. Yeah, but they might do this and would you do that? No, I would never do that. But I'm just saying other people would do that. So if you didn't do it, then why are you reinforcing in the mirror that's possible? So you can attract it? So you can say, oh, I told you so, that happened. Duh! You can't do that. You have to represent unconditional. You have to represent allowance. That doesn't mean giving in to the moment and you're going to become a victim because someone physically attacks you. No, when someone comes at you physically, now it's not fear, that's danger. Danger is different than fear. Then you act appropriately. Take out your mag and fucking put a bullet right here or center mass. Doesn't matter. You create a world that is yours, but not through posture, intentional posture from a control standpoint of I'm going to tamp down the chaos. Everyone says the world's going to go to chaos if we didn't have this and we didn't have that. What happens? What happens? What happens? Okay? What happens? Just listen to me. What happens if we stop charging for food? Because we have enough food to feed everybody in the world. The United States throws more food away than it actually consumes. Okay? So we have enough food. We have a lot of farms. We have a lot of waste because we put out these platters of food that are absolutely way too large for any one human to eat, although they do eat it in one sitting, and they also weigh 350 fucking pounds, and they wonder why they're hooked to a goddamn dialysis machine or diabetes. Walking around, driving around Walmart in one of those fucking cars where their ass hangs over on each side. We feed them. But what happens if everyone had food for free? See, that's a society that would demand socialism. And that's the thing. I don't want socialism, and I don't want anything to be government controlled. I don't want that because I don't believe we need a government to control us. That's what we were sold, that we weren't good enough to be that. We had elected officials that spoke for the people. But of course, humans in their separation are corrupt. The 1800s are nothing but corruption. The 1700s were nothing but corruption. The 1900s were nothing but corruption. And we're still corruption. But that's the nature of humanity because they have lack. So of course they're going to want, if you have an emptiness and there's money in front of you and the whole world demands money for food and nice things, what are you going to do? You're going to turn it away? No, you're going to fucking take it. You're 1 in a million if you don't. 1 in a million. So most people want to take what they can get. Of course, that's not wrong. That's human. That's separation. But it's got to be represented. So there wouldn't be any chaos in the world. There would be no need for police. There would be no need for the idea of jails, which we have more people incarcerated in the United States, and we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world because we have lack, and then we divided ourselves. But what happens if you gave everybody food? Then they wouldn't rob or steal. A lot of them would steal other things and money, but let's start somewhere. Let's just fucking start. Let's give everyone food for free and not a whole bunch of extra food, enough. And then what happens? Don't worry about the farmers. The farmers, don't worry about that. We're not going to solve that problem. Well, how are they going to get paid? How are they? I got it. See, it's all about money, and that's where your mind goes. But just take it away. How many people would need so much stuff if they had all their food paid for? Every time, no matter where you go, no matter what restaurant, it's all free, no matter where you go. Can you imagine? All the food would be free. And we would have leftover food, and then we can send it to other people who don't have food. Do you think society would need as much in the place of the enforcement when there's no lack about one major survival idea? They took the food away from the farms. They took them away from your yards and they put them in the grocery store. That's where the food is now. The food's not in front of you. If you're out in the country like I am, you can grow some food, right? You can slaughter your own cows too, make your own beef, shoot your own deer. And it's easier because you go get it at the store. But it's all in the store, and they control that. They control the prices. That's how the society works, and that's not wrong. But someone has to represent something different. And I'm not saying be a crusader. I just want you to observe how much control is out there and how much you think you need control because the world is representing that. What you have to do is observe enough to understand. Observe enough to understand what you are putting out to creation. Are you enabling, reinforcing? Are you representing change? Let's not get logical verbatim and go out and giving your food away for free and buying everyone. We're not saying that. We're saying look at what you control and look at what you can release control and allow things to see and play out in such a fashion that your control is not needed. So you're releasing a pressure on your reality, a posture, a vibrational expression. You're starting to release that. So now the magic can start to come in that you've been pushing away that represent an alignment more and more. And as you remove the resistances that were taught by human, the separation, the classification, the identity of race, creed, color, and wealth, and all of that becomes a non-issue with you. And you represent harmony. And then someone else sees that. And now that you live it, you can teach it. You'll never preach it. Because preaching is someone who reads from a book who never lived it. A teacher has lived it from the heart and can teach it to someone through the vibration of experience. Make sense? Tell them, welcome. Hi, Laura. Observe enough to understand, yes. So if you think about the world is one and all, and this is your subjective world, no one can see the point of view. And those co-creators are versions of you. And if you're resisting those through control, through expectations, through safety and security, then you know you are enabling those versions of people to act in that behavior to reinforce what you love. You might not polarize love it, but vibrationally, you keep reinforcing it. So the mirror goes, I'm your best friend, here you go. So maybe start with control. The world can be solved, but only through structure And whenever you put a new structure, you're going to have a polar opposite. So it'll be resolved in this, but then this will pop up. And you resolve this, and then this pops up because there's always a polarity. So what it needs to be is the world is not problematic. The world is evolving and seeing itself. And those light bearers that represent the nature of reality in their own way, never objectified as a standard book on way to behave, because that's another form of structure. Don't do that. You have to find the kingdom, the resonant, the persona that lies underneath the layers of separation that you created by joining into humanity. And you emerge the natural self. You represent the change of the world for others to be within themselves. And that behavioral change starts to catch fire and show others that we don't have to live in separation. The world is so tight. We're killing each other. We're shooting each other all over the world. In Australia, we just saw that, right? And that move popped up on my news feed. Brown University, I think. Let's just keep killing each other. Why are we so mad? Because there's so much control and so much fear and so much that's divided and measured. You take a person that's cultivated in a reality of harm, and they create harm for the rest of their lives. You take that same child, remove him from harm and give him unconditional love. Not love like a perception of pride and good job and reinforcement. No, cultivating unconditional love of the self. The way Bruce Wayne was raised by his parents. They cultivated that man. So that love is represented in the same entity. It lives in two different ways because what wasn't fed to the empty mind that is a sponge? The first thing I was fed is I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not normal. I don't fit in. So I start creating all of these things in my world. I start resisting and fighting. And that is not my fault, and that's not my parents' fault. That's the result of separation, polarization for experience of not being a God. But when I started to see what lies within the kingdom that I create, I gave myself opportunity. I was worth the chance to love myself and deconstruct those resistances, those controlling issues that I perceived are a must, a responsibility, a duty. And I stopped and ceased those things and start creating myself the best I could without regret and constant observation and refinement as I've journeyed. And here I am, 13 years later, loving it. Well, really, 15, almost 16 is when I transcended or transitioned from Roxy into Roxanne, right? It's just the greatest thing I've ever done. It gave me so much fear. It showed me everything I had inside of me. How fucking stupid is it, though? It's important to be male or female. Of course, it's important to the human because it's a division. It's a role to play. It's an identity because they perceive reality. But we all have the same vibrations within us. We all have both potentials. I'm not going to deny half of myself. I'm going to bring my whole self to the plate, to the table, and represent what I am in the moment, not what I am in time. How ludicrous is that? Yeah. Absolutely, son. Anyways, folks, observe yourself, be humble, be respectful of yourself. Don't beat up yourself. Don't let your mind criticize yours anymore. There's no more need for self-abuse or acceptance of another's abuse. Start setting your boundaries. Start letting people know that you're worth your own existence. They don't have control over you, and you don't need to control others. And little by little, start to deconstruct those values, those truths, those belief systems by not energizing them anymore and shifting and choosing a different world, a new world, an unknown world. And you'll learn the trust that you are an eternal God, a creator, and it is literally your universe. Okay? You're welcome so much, son. All right, guys, listen, thank you all for tuning in this evening. I appreciate you all tuning in, all of you. Thanks for the thumbs up. As you join and watching this on replay, consider thumbs up. And of course, consider subscribing. And if you care to donate to Odyssey of Ascension, you can do those through the Odyssey of Ascension link to my website. I love you all. Great night, everyone. We'll see you in the next now. Yeah? Journey well, Masters. Good night.